Hello, a very good morning. Welcome to the Morning Focus. Today's Tuesday, 18th day of August 2020. Sixth edition of the Morning Focus. A very good morning to everyone. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, the rest of the world. This is Continent of the World. Welcome to the Morning Focus on MBN TV. I am El Samuels. Now we'll be joined this morning by Francisca Afrakumantori. She'll be joining me. We'll bring you the weather and its updates. And I'm delighted to have you with us as we begin another day of conversation. This time around, information and accountability. From the economy to governance, public health, the environment, and the issues affecting our everyday life. Morning Focus brings you stories that matter, and more importantly, the conversation behind those stories. This morning, our focus is on health, but we will also examine some of the major national issues shaping Ghana today. We'll bring you the latest news, the weather, the traffic updates, news headlines, our national policy focus, and where we go beyond the headline to ask the difficult questions. And throughout the program, your voice matters. Send us your thoughts, your questions, your reaction on WhatsApp. We will also be reading selected messages as we move through each segment on 0537 158638 is the number. 0537 158638 is the numbers where you can also join us. But before we go into the day's major stories, let's check the weather situation. I will bring you our latest weather conditions and what viewers across the regions should expect as they plan their day. And joining me to help us with this is Francisca Afrakumantori. Francisca, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Always blessed and highly favored.
Hey, Osofuba. Azankwa.
Oh, Kazambe.
Zankwa. How was your night?
It was good by the grace of God.
I can grace of God wherever for to me.
Everything is by the grace of God. If it's not by the grace of God, I wouldn't be here.
Everything by the grace of God. I lack our few. Oh my goodness. Today is the 18th day of August 2020. I said, how was your morning? You slept well?
Yes. The morning
was good.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like you're really enjoying the city where you find yourself, right?
Yes.
You're enjoying it.
Yes.
You have a big mama in there.
Yes.
Big
Much
mama.
grateful.
Big mama what?
Francisca.
So you're not Big Mama Francisca.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I see. All right, so take us away. Give us the weather and its update for this morning as we soldier on for God and for country. We'll also be expecting the MCR to do as good by placing the weather and its update on the screen for us. On the screen for us. So, MCR, if you're ready, I go back to Francisca to take us through the weather. So, Francisca, over to you.
Okay, so good morning and a warm welcome to everyone watching us this morning. I'm Francisca Afrakumantori once again. And before we get into the day's activities, let's check the weather conditions expected across Ghana today according to the Ghana Meteo Agency. So this morning, patches of mist or fog are expected over parts of the coastal, forest and mountainous areas, while mostly cloudy conditions prevail elsewhere, while localized slight rain or drizzle over southern Ghana. In the afternoon, variably cloudy conditions will prevail over most parts of the south, while sunny intervals are expected over the northern sector. There is, however, the likelihood of thunderstorms or rain over parts of the middle, transition and northern sectors during the afternoon and evening hours. Now let's take a look at the temperatures across the country today. The coastal sector will record a minimum temperature of 23 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. The forest sector will record a minimum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. Then the transition sector will also record a minimum temperature of 23 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius. And then in the northern sector, temperatures will range from a minimum of 24 degrees Celsius to a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. And always remember that relatively cool nights and early morning temperatures are expected across the country. So this is the weather outlook for this morning.
All right, so that's the weather outlook for this morning. But we go back to bring you the full screen from the Ghana Meteorological Agency with all the temperatures across the regions of the country. So that's the weather updates across the entire country in the next 18 hours. If there's any unforeseen change, we'll get back to you. Now we turn our attention to the roads. We did present you the major roads. So now let's check the roads this morning. If you are heading out, don't leave home. Know what the traffic situations look like and know your alternative. In Accra, we are watching the major corridors, including the N1, George Walker Bush Highway, Tekwashi, Medina Adenta, Spintex, and the Tema Motorway. In Kumasi, the attention is on the Sofo line, Swame, Edriso, and the major approaches into the cities. Those are the areas we'll be looking at this morning. Now, to begin with, watch the N1 George Walker Bush, Kwame Nkrumah Motorway, the Tetekwashi Interchange, Medina Adenta Corridor, Spintex Road, Kaswa Malam Stretch, and Accra Tema Motorway. The N1 is one of the country's principal east-west corridors linking Kaswa, Accra, and Tema. Possible alternatives: Kaswa Malam, consider the Ewutu Senya Old Kaswa Road options where practicable. Medina Adenta, consider Ebri Road or the Manfi roads depending on your destination. Accra Tema, consider the Spintex Road or the Nungwa corridor where appropriate. Kumasi, monitor the Sofo line interchange, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Tech Junction, Edriso Swame Magazine, and the Central Business District approaches. Alternatives: motorists traveling between Kumasi and the Eastern or Accra corridor can consider routes through Edriso, Gosu, Konongo, subject to conditions. Accra Kumasi Highway, motorists should pay particular attention to the N6 corridor through Nsawam, Suhum, Nkoko, Goso, Konongo, and Ejiso. The N6 is the principal Accra-Kumasi Highway route through the eastern region. A previous major obstruction in the Brimso Bridge required temporary diversion through Kibi or Nsutam for Accra-bound traffic and Apeja for Kumasi-bound traffic. So motorists should follow the police instruction if a similar incident occur. For those of you from the Tema Motorway Interchange, the Tema Harbour, the Community 25, Aflawu Road and Boom areas, the alternative, depending on the destination, motorists can consider the Tema Aflawu N2 corridor or Community 25 routes rather than concentrating on the main motorway approaches. The N2 begins at the Tema Motorway Interchange and runs through to the Aflawu to Boom. Takoradi Cape Coast Highway Market Circle major approaches into secondary. Motorists should consider local bypass secondary routes where necessary, particularly around the Market Circle and Major Junction, Cape Coast, Accra Highway, Kotokraba area, Pidu Junction, University of Cape Coast approaches. The Tamale Borga Road, Tamale Yendi Road, Central Business District approaches, and major roundabouts for intra-city movement. So in Tema, we're monitoring the Tema Motorway Interchange, the Harbour Road, Community 25, and the Pum Corridor. And remember, if you consider heavy traffic and an accident or a road closure, send your location on WhatsApp on 053-715-8638 or SMS. Your traffic report could help another motorist choose a better route this morning. Drive carefully, keep a safe distance, and don't use your phone whilst driving. This is Morning Focus on MBN TV. And that's just, by the way, our weather, our traffic just gone by. Now, coming up, we'll bring you, straight away, we're turning our attention to bring you our scripture for this morning. And this one is from Proverbs, the chapter 4, the verse 20 to 22. It says, "My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ears to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to the ones whose one whole body." Because today is a health day, I decided to bring you the scripture. I want you to ponder about it as you think through it, and then we'll come back and bring you that which was sent to us by the Maranatha Power Ministry International this morning, and we'll go straight to that. And then right after that, we come back into the studio to have that conversation with you. So you can send yours to us wherever you find yourself on 0537-158-638, 0537-158-638 is the numbers. You can also send your messages to us this morning as we sojourn for God and for country. Remember, the countdown is still on. We got some few more days to go for the big one, the 30th anniversary celebration. We'll be telling you more about the 30th anniversary celebration. But today, something is going to happen. That's a moment of miracle. But just before I tell you about the moment of miracle, the First King, the chapter 19, verse 11 says, "Go out and stand before me on the mountain," the Lord told him. Go out and stand before me on the mountain, the Lord told him. First King 19:11. I read from the NLT. You know, there are moments in life when disappointment, fear, rejection, failure, exhaustion, or uncertainty can make us retreat into our own caves. We withdrew because hiding feels safer than facing what hurt us. But God did not meet Elijah in the cave to leave him there. He called him out. Sometimes the greatest danger is not the storm outside the cave, but becoming comfortable in a place God only intended to be temporal. Your cave may represent fear that has paralyzed you, disappointment that has weakened you, failure that has defined you, and a painful experience that have made you afraid to try again. But your past experience is not the final chapter of your story. God still has purpose for you. This morning I came to announce to you that notice that God did not simply tell Elijah to feel better. He told him to come out and stand. There comes a time when healing must lead to movement and restoration must lead to action. You may have cried in a cave. You may have questioned God in a cave. You may have lost strength in a cave, but you were never created to live there. Today, hear God's invitation. Come out, stand again, walk again, believe again. The mountain may still be ahead, but so is your purpose. I said, the mountain may still be ahead, so is your purpose. Let's pray. Say with me, Lord, give me the courage to come out of every cave that has kept me from moving forward. Heal the places where disappointment has wounded me. Renew my strength where I've become weary. Restore my confidence where fear has taken over. Help me to hear your voice, trust your direction, step boldly into the purpose you have prepared for me in Jesus' name. Amen. If you pray this prayer, I want you to lift up your hands wherever you are as we declare this and say, I will not remain in a cave. By God's grace, I am coming out, standing again and moving forward into my purpose. I invite you to join us this morning, 9 a.m. at the Maranatha Power Ministries International. Today's Tuesday will bring you the moment of miracle. There's a miracle awaiting you at the church auditorium behind the Lekma Polyclinic, Noah at Dogono. Come, let's lift our hands together. The Bible said, if two shall agree, come, let's agree. Come, let's unite with our corporate anointing. Hear the word, and we overcame them by the blood and the words of our testimony. Hear a testimony that will ginger you up. Come and let God speak into your life. Come, there's a miracle that awaits you. Invite somebody to come with you. The time is 9 a.m. All road leads to the Maranatha Power Ministries International. The numbers on your screen, you pick the numbers. If you've lost your way, just call the numbers. We'll give you the direction to the place. I hope to see you there. And remember, I'll be telling you something about the 30th anniversary and as to why. But from this moment is a moment of miracle, exactly 9 a.m. Be there and don't be late. Your miracle awaits you. We go for a commercial break. When we return, we'll bring you the African Proverbs for the morning. Stay with us. All right, so welcome back, and you're still live on the Morning Focus. We're turning our attention to something we've always termed the front burner. What is burning this morning? That's a big question out there. The city is being refreshed. Can Ghana sustain the gains without repeating the past? The question I'm asking this morning, the city has experienced renewed attention as government and economic managers seek to consolidate the recent improvement in the currency. But the bigger question is not simple whether the city is strengthening today. Can Ghana sustain the gains? What lessons have we learned from previous periods of currency stability, followed by renewed pressure? Are we addressing the underlying causes of cedi depreciation, including import, debt, fiscal pressures, foreign exchange demand, and investor confidence? And perhaps most importantly, what must Ghana do differently this time to ensure that today's gain become a lasting economic foundation rather than another temporary recovery? 0537158638 is the numbers. You can also join us about the refreshing of the Ghanaian cedi. Remember, the president said this on a tour of the Upper East region, that the cedi will be refreshed. Are we going to sustain that gains, or is just one of those things? Or are we going to learn from the past? How sustainable is this? Now, the issues of ACA is there. Why Iyoko, not OSP, is leading the AXA bribery probe? Deputy AG explains. Ghana raises to 6th largest gold producer globally after 2025 output. Call of strike, give us 1 month to resolve payment issue. Education Minister appeals to Goa to consult members after talks with Haruna Idrisu as strike continue. AXA bribery scandal exposes deeper failure in Ghana's procurement system, mentions South MP. NDC interest aligns with Constitution. Serum side defense push for speedy trials. Being fast doesn't mean perverting justice. Deputy AG challenges critics to prove manipulation. ACA saga, don't turn Iyoko OSP roles into tough war. Deputy AG. One and who bonds ads at the $1 million thing. It didn't be brave PMO. Now, a bit to me, as Sokita said, Anwana, bribery and corruption. Can we stop using media to challenge judicial decision? Tedasori to lawyers. Private legal practitioner Tedasori has urged lawyers to use established legal procedures to challenge judicial decisions rather than resorting to media campaign, public pressure, or boycotts, according to him. Government targets 70% 5G population coverage by 2028. 4G crown grow for 1 and a 5G. Francisca talk credit to Janessa, auto data 2 minutes nessa penusu. Me watch up a 4G. Obeto data to be G. Government has set an ambitious target to achieve 70% population coverage of 5G by end of 2028. This is part of efforts to accelerate Ghana digital transformation and expand access to high-speed connectivity. The Deputy Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Mohamed Adam Saparo, speaking at the opening of the 2026 National ICT Week, said government is also reviewing spectrum policies to promote investment, develop a deployment, and wider public value from countries' limited spectrum resources. Bringing some of the snipes of the stories are making headway this morning. Fiscal policy uncertainty making mining investment more expensive. Ashway. Ghana rises to 6. Okay, Cocoa Board makes XRF texting mandatory for all gold purchases from 1st September. Ghana must grow large-scale mining to sustain gold production. Ken Ashibe. Stories on some of the portals this morning. 053-715-8638 is the number sounds which me afraid and pay a DNA far refreshing of the Ghana city. You can also, and what do you make of the AXA bribery 10 bribery $1 million US. Say na opinion for it and why bibi kakra. Back on this year, but some names are coming up. And AG is better than a tough war between OSP and EOCO. But the Deputy Attorney General I explained why the Economic and Organized Crime, rather than the Office of the Special Prosecutor, is leading the Ghana local investigation into the bribery scandal. But the question is that if the FBI also support with support from the OSP, were able to get back who was extradited from the UK to the US on the same matter, why can't the OSP lead this investigation since he helped the FBI according to the OSP? If that is it, why are we making EOCO to lead instead of the OSP? But Dr. Sai says the decision was based on legal mandate of the respective institution and the range of offenses that may arise from the case. It stressed that the matter goes beyond allegation of bribery and corruption to potentially including money laundering, which falls within EOCO's mandate. Dr. Sai dismissed suggestion that the decision to put EOCO in charge was intended to avoid scrutiny from the OSP. So that is also another score that is coming this morning. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us this morning. There's a call of the strike. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has appealed to the striking university administrators to suspend their industrial action and give government 1 month to resolve the outstanding payment concern. 1 month to resolve it. The outstanding payment concern. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. So whilst waiting for your messages and your call, it's time to turn our attention. We now turn to the newspapers. What are the major stories making the front pages today? We will take you through the headlines, identify the story likely to dominate the national conversation this morning. And that is what we're going to do. We're turning our attention to that as well. So we go straight away to look at the extras from the newspapers. Read all about it. We start with the Daybreak newspaper. The Daybreak has this banner headlines. Kumasi tanker drivers suspend strike after bust agreement. Yes, Coca talks tough. Coca talks tough. CTT pledges inclusive MPP administration in Ashanti. With a picture of the chairman Odinoho Kweku Apia Coca on the front page of the Daybreak. NDC Women's Organizer Contest. Jubilee House shields Maxlock boss. Jubilee House shields Maxlock boss. Academic City partners demand strong digital accountability as Ghana loses 19.3 million Ghana cedis to cyber crime. Stories with the banner headlines on the front page of the Daybreak newspaper this morning.
Away from the Daybreak, we move on to the Business Analyst. It says Gold Board makes XRF as a mandatory for gold purity determination from September 1st. Cedi long overdue for security refresh, and this is coming from the President, Mahama. It has the picture of the President on it. And National Mining Dialogue 2026 kicks off today. Mahama announces rehabilitation of Paulugu Tomato Factory. CD stages strong recovery as dollar supply improves. These are the headlines on the front page of the Business Analyst.
All right, moving on, we do the updates this morning. The updates, and there is no emergency. Godfrey Dami criticizes vacation hearing in Hanan case. The update newspaper. It is time to put our personal interest behind us. Dr. Ayu Efriye rallies Ashanti NPP. If you sell gold at a loss, you are not a good trader. Afinyo marking jabs Sami Jemfi. Respect the court. GDLA tells First Bank Ghana to pay former employee benefits. No child should be left behind. I love the story there. Is a no child should be left behind. Osu Manye launches major educational fund. Stories on the updates newspaper. Those are the headlines there.
The Spider. Julius Deborah, Galamsey Ekanka eating Ghana alive, urges collective national resolve to eradicate it. Kwehuman Hines silence. Shraj issues final warning to ex-ADB board chair over 50,000 Ghana cedis kickback scandal. Ada Traditional Council suspends 4 senior members over defiant Deba. We in NDC decided who won NPP's Ashanti regional polls, and this is coming from Amwanko Hene. Beyond the ballot, Napo defends Kumasi's place in NPP history. These are the headlines on the Spider.
Also, Amwako Hene, the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Ashanti, is claiming that they, the NDC, decide who wins the chairmanship in the NPP. Yeah, sure, dear. And now, all can't no. Now, the Economic Times has the stories, and it says CD regains value after July setback. Reserves hold at $12.9 billion US. Deposit insurance extended to digital deposit, such as customers' mobile money balances. Government set to meet its 2.2% fiscal deficit target despite a 41% capex shortfall. Economic Times has this headlines and the details behind the stories.
Moving on to the New Republic. The AG behind Adamu's downfall. Mining outside permits, foreign subleases, missing approvals, and Galamsey done under Dame's legal cover. From extortion to evangelism, Dankwa Institute attempts to scrub NPP's filth with a manufactured moral icon. NPP's ghost appointees flee regional elections as corruption cases pile up. Prophet of peril. Kusi Boateng plays emotional victim card as forensic news tightens. Vivo Energy Ghana charts a bolder future at 2026 Retail Conference and Awards. These are the headlines on the New Republic.
Now let's do the Business and Financial Times, the BFNT. Drammen Community Bank delivers impressive growth. Tax Justice Coalition demands tax exemption regime reforms, urges government to bridge 81% corporate tax gap. Bull run in GSE's mutilation window. 3 wins Toyota Land Cruiser Prado in MTN at 30th anniversary celebration. Economic burst numbers in years hidden it's in a costly habit from inflation to consumption. West Africa FMCG's a turnaround. Subheadings and the top bigger one on the Business and Financial Times.
The National Enquirer. Julius Deborah defends journalists, says they are not government enemies. You can find this story on the page 3. Boost Energies engages Kumasi tanker drivers over concerns at Kumasi depot. Minerals Commission opens Daman District Office. Osu launches fund to keep vulnerable children in school. Bite Mao donates medical supplies with $400,000 to police hospitals. These are the stories making headlines on the National Enquirer.
Did you see the tanker drivers who were demonstrating yesterday in Kumasi near the post office that is near Kumasi? You didn't watch them?
No.
Okay.
I didn't get home earlier for this.
The Daily Post, President Mahama announces $10 billion new economic investment program. CD long overdue for security refresh. Mahama. Other story says Ashanti cocoa farmers welcome new cocoa bill, back key reforms. Story. Headline stories on the Daily Post.
The Archives. It says National Cathedral Chop audit report sparks panic. Former board secretary cries out, "Jail me." Angry youth arrest chief over Galamsey. DVLA to clamp down on rickety vehicles. Compliance officers to hit roads daily. Prophets of doom predict Gold Board's downfall, but Duncan Williams calls for prayers. Youth Ministry holds National Youth Forum tomorrow. These are the headlines on the Archives.
All right, away from the Archives, we do the Chronicle newspaper this morning. Mwachi entry vowed, "I will restore 5K per constituency stipend." Galamseyers are operating with impunity under Mahama and Dombre, Minority Chief Whip, and also the MP Fonsawo Madridri. NDC Youth Wing calls for stronger action against illegal mining. And he has a scripture beneath Numbers 30, the verse 2. If a man makes a vow to the Lord or takes an oath behind himself with a binding obligation, he shall not violate his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. And I believe that the scripture goes to Bwachi Entry, who vows he will restore the 5,000 Ghana cedis per constituency stipend. Rise. Headlines on the Chronicle.
Moving on to the Overseer. Police arrest 14 suspected narcotic plant farmers at Daliga. Understanding Ghana's new integrated tax administration system. NPP elections. Bawumia suffers humiliating defeat in 3 regions. You can find this story on the page 3. Ejapa Mecca donates hydrants to graduating hairdressers in 2nd D. Okai Menta engages 10 members in colleges at Oti region. And this is coming from Atu Folsen. Governments determined to end Ghana's reliance on IMF ballots. You can find this story on the page 2. Bailouts. National Mining Dialogue 2026. and it has the picture of the Gamanche and Dr. Julius, Deborah, and then Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa. These are the stories on the overseer.
We do the Ghanaian Times this morning. The Ghanaian Times, FDA flags chemical arrived plantains, probes viral video from Medina Market. Capital market players kick against 400% SEC levy hike. Inside violence face the law. Interior Minister warns with a picture of Alhaji Mutaka Mohammed Mubarak. 14 arrested for suspected narcotic cultivation in Daliga. Stories on the Ghanaian Times. That happens to be our final newspaper for this morning. The Ghanaian Times is the final newspaper. We're going for that quick break. When we return, there's more conversation coming up. Please don't go away. back from the quick break. You're still live on the morning focus. We're picking your thought. The MPP over the weekend have their regional elections, the chairman, regional chairman. What do you make of this election? I mean, this is very on a quiet one with Timmy Wakami Bia. 053-1583 numbers are also between at wide being a far Omujumedi no 0537158638 numbers also between our friend and you didn't come on and now pay yabubo headline stories no so tell yakwa near course of front banner. President said 10 million US dollars new economy. How feasible is this? Is it possible? A bit me a juma. So to me any attrition come on 0537158638 0537158638 numbers are also between me afraid. You've been Ghana home. We're thinking about the mother Ghana. We're looking at the issues that has come up this morning. The city is being refreshed. Can Ghana sustain the gains without repeating the past? Ghana's economy is growing, but where are the jobs? Galamsey, after reclamation, how do we stop reclaimed lands from being destroyed again? These are some of the things that EABisa and Anope. Also over to me Edward Jintre Abba. I was 0537158638 Francisca Frakuma and a boy me nano pay the headline stories no Ebremo Anope. The city is being refreshed. Can Ghana sustain the gains without repeating the past? The core question is the current stability of the city the beginning of a lasting economic recovery or another temporary improvement? Ocean and saying near course were previous before NDC but Abem say the economy not Pansan. Now with WBTS you see now is stable, the currency is stable, the stability of the city. As some say, is it a lasting recovery and now say a temporary? Are we dealing with the symptoms or the main issues? What is it? What is driving the city currently? I mean, what must Ghana do differently this time to prevent another city crisis? 0537158638 numbers. Yes, I'm what you say. Ghana's economy is growing, but the question is, economy where are the jobs? If the economic growth is improving, when will the Ghanaian feel the impact through decent and sustainable employment? And also the question back when maybe say I don't pay. So you say economy no I improve it. The pain I know you be feel is an impact no. And I beboa amaye fankrofo edwumam. I mean there's a lot of people. Can Ghana call its economic recovery successful if young people still cannot find decent jobs? The next thing that also came out before we went to bed was about the reclamation of lands of Galamsey. Galamsey, after the reclamation, how do we stop the reclaimed lands from being destroyed again? The core question is, reclaiming degraded land is one thing, protecting it permanently is also another. Are we reclaiming the land only to watch the same land become mining sites again? I reclaiming lands no. They are saying Jaho, Ayesha High Namasa Besero. And I said to say 0537158638 numbers. Because Sisiano, how would citizens measure whether an elected government is actually delivering on its mandate? The key campaign angle, campaign promises versus implementation. jobs and economic opportunities, healthcare, education, infrastructure, cost of living, public sector efficiency, transparency and accountability, value for money, whether government communications matches citizens' livelihood experiences. Should government be judged by the promises they make, the policies they introduce, or the measurable results citizens experience? City and economic stability, economic growth and jobs, and galamsey and reclaimed lands, promises versus performance. 053715863 air numbers near try say and Sabeka a year lawyer KK Sabe or line also. Yensakana, yene lawyer, about between Commonie Bisano, and some Bakum be a far MPP. About to got to over the weekend, and we regional chairman. Now, regional chairman, we Osha, between Abwa MPP to come to power, and also internal processes can they be able to deal with the internal processes. Osheniama Akoswa before Omuba elected a friend said the former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and some day a bebre. Ye bisa no pay na say. And so one more year almost so medi MPP name no. Ombetumi abwa ama ekroye aba party no. The party na fan into my baby Afra Anna 0537158638 0537158330. Over and Rana a lawyer or Henry Jan Estate said the National Democratic Congress did not win the 2024 general election simply because its support increased significantly, but rather because some new patriotic party supporters failed to turn out to vote. Somebody atisa yatinasa akwaba yatinasa 053 7158638 053 7158638. And numbers are also between me. Any attribution whilst we are waiting to get KK Sabe on the line. Me entonka 0537158638. And numbers are also between me. Any attribution in common and the anopay 0537158638. And numbers are also between me. Afraid Sasia na yentwin komonemo yetwen on common yetwen say obefre no we're trying to get KK Sebe on the line. What do you make of the NPP's elections over the weekend? What do you make of it? How would you term it? 0537158638 is the numbers you can call us. 0537158638. My mental kind of pay 0537158638 is the number. So whilst waiting, we go through some of the issues that has come out this morning on the morning focus. As a front burner now, we're looking at some of the tougher issues on the dailies for this morning. Bank sustainable success will be defined by less interest margins, according to PwC. GCB takes over EcoBank as Ghana's largest deposit-taking bank for the year under review. That is it. 0537158638 in the numbers. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Menchia South, Nana Ejay Balfour Ewa, has called for independent public inquiry into the AXA bribery scandal, urging that the focus should go beyond prosecuting individuals to addressing systemic failures that continue to expose Ghana to corruption. This follows the conviction of the former Tema Oil Refinery Managing Director Asante Kweku Bediako, Asante Kweku Beko in the United Kingdom for bribing foreign officials in connection with the power projects. The MP said the current risk repeating the same mistake if authorities concentrate solely on the criminal prosecutions without examining the weaknesses within Ghana's procurement and anti-corruption system. He argued that the case is not an isolated incident but part of a troubling pattern involving foreign companies bribing public officials in Ghana. The MP cited several previous cases, including the Mayberry injunction scandal, the Airbus bribery case, and evidence of persistent institutional weakness. And according to him, the repeated nature of this scandal suggests that Ghana's safeguards against corruption are either ineffective or not functioning as intended. That is also another worsening and troubling matter. Eating us up on 0537158638. You can also share your thoughts with us this morning. 0537158638. Numbers. Mamintunka. Slide check it. Lines the mami why a busy one fra and back into my names whether you can restart the phone and I'm in your bayano, but Kweku sends us one and it said your line is not just going through. Whatever it is, no PCR monshare line bium and mami. I mean dealing with the front line message. The front burner, sorry. 0537158638. 0537158638. Numbers, yes, sir. She himself. Yensabe can a year Kasama for ma a NDC MPP so Mabeka yensa a was studio ha na yene warm attrition in common. Almost on my band and watching. But in between time and now, no, which me afraid now also on the one green jaffa. Someone ye bobo who anopay a fire sicker some, a fat ye golden some, a fat ye school some, a fat a jumemun some, a fat $10 million $10 million new economy. A yep, a man penny a she name said. Omudi to Aquemo Abeboa for Ghana to create some spaces for the unemployed youth. 0537158638. And numbers are also with me afraid. Now you know attribute and common. Meanwhile, the BOG identified 4.8 billion annual SME financing gap. Bank of Ghana has identified an estimated $4.8 billion annual financing gap facing small and medium-sized enterprises, warning that the country's sophisticated digital payment system structure has not yet translated into equally accessible credit for businesses. The second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Matilda Asante Esiedu, says Ghana has made significant progress in digital payment, but must now focus on building stronger credit system to ensure businesses can use their transaction history to access financing. That is coming from the Bank of Ghana this morning. The Bank of Ghana this morning. GIPC is also raising some other questions on score this morning. We'll go to the corridors of the GIPC and also find out what is happening there. Right after that, Nathan will be joining me in studio. I'll have a conversation with him. Meanwhile, The Ghana Investment Promotion Authority has secured investor leads and expression of interest in real estate, tourism, and other sectors following its participation in the Investor Fest 2026 in Atlanta, United States. The engagement also generated discussion on potential business partnership and commercial opportunities, which follow up engagement expected to explore, identify prospects in the country. And also, one thing that one thing that has also come up this morning on this dial 053-715-8638, 053-715-8638. Numbers are also over to me afre any atwetwe enkomo ene anopai ewo ye dial so as we soldier on for God and for country, for God and for country. And me enter on come anopai as we turn around, but almost don't forget that the 30th anniversary celebration is coming off. But before that, let's talk about the homecoming. The homecoming is the 28th to the 30th of August 2026, and it's happening live at the Maranatha Power Ministries International behind the Lekma Polyclinic, Nungwa Adokonon. So if you happen to be passing through, you've passed through, you've been to any of our services, you've been a former member before, you've been in and out of service, we want to see you. We've missed you, and we are asking that let's come together, let's celebrate the homecoming. There's nothing like coming home. Come, let's come home, let's have a tete-a-tete, let's sit down, let's jaw. Let's put our differences behind and celebrate the goodness and the faithfulness of God. Remember, the homecoming is the 28th day to the 30th day of August. So somewhere after next week, we're heading towards the tail end of the month of August, and we will want to see you. So next week, somewhere next week, we're expecting by the weekend next week, we want to see you as you come to celebrate with us the 30th anniversary of the goodness and the faithfulness of God. Is coming up. Then right after that, you know that within the same, there will be Jesus March on the Saturday, also as part of preparation for the big one, which is the 30th anniversary celebration, which is coming up on the first Tuesday, 1st September, through to the 6th of September. So it's going to be a 6-day powerful celebration. 6-day powerful celebration. Morning section at 8 a.m., evening section at 6 p.m. In attendance will be His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be there. With seasoned men of God across the world are also coming. When it comes to talking about money, how to keep money, how to be able to create wealth, then watch out for Dr. Skip Nichols, who has been a partner to the ministry for over 25 years and still counting, supported in various missions across the country. Will be there to talk to you about money matters. Now, when it comes to that says the Lord, remember, we're going to have 2 prophets in our midst. Also join the prophet Richard Odro, a very powerful, highly anointed man of God and a woman of God. Is also going to be there. A prophetess, Nasam Hanchel, will be there. We're going to have the man who sings. He has a call for worship, praise, the word. He has his own school of ministry. We're talking about Apostle Lamte. Apostle Lamte will be there as well. I have Apostle E.A. Saki, E.A.T. Saki, call it Itzaki, will be there. Apostle Medrod Lloyd Brandt, who's will be in attendance all the way from the US of A. And don't forget Apostle Dominic Alote, from New York, US of A will also be there. We're going to have the Apostle General Sam Crunchy Ankara will be in attendance. And don't forget, this is hosted by Bishop Noble Francis Afotodai and Reverend Mrs. Valeria Afotodai. They are hosts. And come, let's look at the church history, how it all began, how the journey started. The journey that started with them, the obedience to the voice of God. It's been 30 years of impactful ministry. It's been 30 years of the goodness of God. It's been 30 years of what God is doing. But wherever you are and whatever you are doing, I invite you to be a partaker of the 30th anniversary. You can support someone, you can ask someone, you can also get someone to come by paying the person's fare and making sure that the person is showcasing him or herself at the grounds. We'll bring you up to speed, we'll announce you, we'll celebrate you for supporting us. We'll do what it takes to make sure that God will pray with you. And I know God that answers prayer will answer you from the very core of your life. So be part of the 30th anniversary. Don't forget the date is the 1st to the 6th of September 2026. And it's happening live at the church auditorium. It's happening at the convention grounds of Maranatha Power Ministries International. Sunday is going to be a super joint service. It's going to be a super joint service on Sunday. And I look forward to seeing you there as you come to be a partaker of what the Lord is doing. What the Lord is doing. So share your thoughts with us right away on our various platforms. All right, so welcome back from that break. I promised that we're going to have Nathan joining us in studio this morning to have a conversation uh, with us. To have a conversation with us this morning, and he comes all the way from what's your area?
Dantuman.
Dansuman. Oh, okay. So how have you been?
No, by God's grace, we've been good.
You've been good.
Yes.
Right. So today, this morning, I'm hanging up with Nathan. What's the full name again?
Nathan.
Nathan Nunu, NN.
Yes, please.
The band is called NN. So we hanging out with Nathan Nunu this morning. Nathan, how would you describe your just ended regional elections?
All right, first of all, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to you, and then I would also want to use this medium to also apologize for appearing late. I mean, it is our duty as panelists to always be punctual on time, and then whenever we are late to have intellectual discussions, it is right that we apologize to our astute listeners and an audience. And then I've always maintained the stance that whenever destiny puts us where we want to be, it is only right that we go back and then thank the people that have helped us along the way. So this morning, I would also want to express my sincerest gratitude once again to one fine gentleman in the Udududuru constituency, as usual, Mr. Samuel Tetefiu, who has been consistent in the youth empowerment of the young people in the constituency, despite him not holding any political office. You see, sometimes some of these people, we can never thank them enough, but then all we can do is always make them aware or appreciate the fact that whatever they do for some of us, we are appreciative of it. And then once again, special greetings to my boss, the political aide to His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Mr. Kofi Tonto, who happens to be the former head of public affairs at the Ghana's embassy in US. Back to your question regarding the MPP internal race. It is important to note that some race such as these, like the MPP internal contest, it's very important in strengthening our democratic tendencies, because sometimes when we do not have some of these structures in place, we are not able to properly understand or analyze our democracy as a country, because having internal elections isn't an easy thing, and for you to go into an internal election and then come out peacefully without any what do we call it, any act of violence, it is an act that needs to be commended. So the MPP National Committee on Elections needs to be commended for their massive work in ensuring that the election was peaceful, and then the Electoral Commission of Ghana also needs to be commended for the tremendous work that they've put in to ensuring that the results were collated on time, and then the Ghana Police Service also needs to be commended because they were able to manage the elections in order for the election to be violence-free.
Now, looking at the caliber of people that have been chosen across the regions, the 16 regions in the country, how would you describe them? Would these people be able to pull the NPP with all this internal wrangling? Would they be able to pull themselves together, pull everybody on board, and make sure the unity the party has been crying for can be achieved?
It is worthy to note that across the 16 regions of this country, I think about 14 of the chairman, the regional chairman, were retained, and that is, only 2 of them were retained, and then the remainder 14 were new faces that were brought into the system. And most often in our political dispensation, it is important to note that new faces most often signal hope, that new faces are bringing in new strategies for the work to be done properly. So once we are seeing some of these new faces, it means that the MPP is ready to see a change when it comes to the administrative affairs of this country. That is why they decided not to retain the old people, but then to change them. Because you look at the likes of Dr. Okoboy, who has been elected as the regional chairman of the Greater Accra region, it is worthy to know that he brings on board a vast experience, both from the constituency level and then handling affairs at the national front. And such a man is one man who would be able to bring in new ideologies, new strategies, to be able to man up Greater Accra region for the NPP. And I believe that once we have the likes of Okoboy in this region, we have such capable men also in the other regions as well. So when you note that most of these people are new faces, it is important for you to think about the new strategies that they are bringing on board, the new analysis that they'll be bringing on board for the new patriotic party to be able to attain political power come 2028. Because the message is simple, that is taking power in 2028 with His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leading the front.
But how does the MPP assess the overall outcome of the general regional chairmanship position?
I don't really get that question.
No, I'm saying that how there are people who will not accept certain people to be in those positions. I'm trying to find out, as a party, have you all accepted those people that have been elected by the various constituencies across the country to make sure that going into election 2028, you go with a united front? How do you solve the puzzle with team? Because looking at 14 people have been voted out, only 2 were retained. I think the northern region retained their chairman, and then some other region. But the Bono region also retained Abronya DC, but across all, the 14 were all changed. Does that mean those 14 that were changed were not really competitive enough as against the position during their time as regional heads?
Okay, so it is important to note that not all the incumbent chairmen contested the position. For instance, you take the like of Greater Accra region, and then you realize that the former chairman, which was the incumbent chairman, that is Chairman Divine, did not contest against the 2 boy cousins. That is Alfred Boy and then Dr. Okoboy. The incumbent chairman did not contest that race. And then we have similar issues across some of the regions as well. But then it is also important to note that the NPP did not start its internal restructuring yesterday. It started with the top-bottom approach, which there were a lot of critics around it. But then because along the season of time, many people have now been able to properly assess the top-bottom approach, and then many people are now buying into the idea that the top-bottom approach was the best outfit for the restructuring of the New Patriotic Party. And then in understanding the MPP internal organizational structure, you realize that aside the National Council and then the acting chairman, that was Chairman Smith Bute, you would also realize that there were the National Steering Committee was also established, a committee which oversees the internal structuring of the party. We also had the reconciliation team that tried after the flag bearership race that was between His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Bawumia and then Honorable Kennedy Japon, Dr. Brian Champon, and then the rest. You realize that there were reconciliation teams that were established, that were going out to reach out to all of these gentlemen for a reconciliation, for a united front. The same apparatus or the same machineries have been established in the various regions, and the National Reconciliation Committee, which is also steering the affairs of this regional-based reconciliation team. And then it will surprise you to note that just yesterday, or I think Sunday, the Ashanti regional chairman elect, that was Chairman Odeno Koka, you realize that the man went to pay a visit to his opponent, that was Honorable Kukufu, in the spirit of solidarity and in the spirit of unity, to preach reconciliatory messages. Because one message is clear within the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party, and that the campaign or the work cannot be done by one man. All of us together, all hands on deck, and we will be able to achieve our collective efforts. Because once you lose, have in mind that when you lose an election, you never lose an election actually, because in contesting for an election there are three things: either you win, you lose, or you learn. So when you go for an election and then you win, there is nothing wrong with it. It adds up to you that you did something that your opponent didn't do. When you lose and when you learn, when you learn from your opponent that your opponent did this and this that I didn't do. But when you lose is when you give up, when you refuse to admit that your opponent did something that you didn't do, something that you could learn from. That is when you lose. That is to me, that is what I term losing, because you fail to understand that your opponent did something that you didn't do. Because if you had done more than your opponent, you would have won the election. So the message remains simple, and that is that the reconciliatory team is on board, and then they are moving. Aside even the reconciliation team, the various participants of the elections have opened up their arms, and then they are visiting their various opponents, and then in the spirit of solidarity and unity, trying to put things together to restructure themselves for victory 2028.
Restructuring themselves for victory 2028. I'm hanging out with Nathan Nuno, who speaks for the NPP. We're looking at the NPP matters. Yesterday, I did hang up with Morgan Yao Atipo from the NDC. And today is the turn of the NPP, talking with Nuno. But quite interesting. I mean, there are some big questions. I mean, big moment. Were the results a reflection of grassroots current mood?
Yes. So from where we sit, and then from the analysis that were made, you would realize that indeed the message is clear. Because when you look at it started with the constituency elections, where you realize that some people were not being retained, others were being changed. And then you realize that the grassroots are hungry for power. They realize that some of the incumbent people, the things that they did not sit well with them. That is why they were calling for change. And the same thing has happened at the regional level. They have called for change at the regional level. And since you would note that the electoral irregularities during these regional elections was minimal. So when you look at some of these aspects of the election, you realize that indeed this was from the grassroots. These are the people that the grassroots have chosen. And that is why the various opponents have decided and then fully agreed with the decision, the electoral outcome, because they know in their hearts that this was what the grassroots people wanted. And then the grassroots have made their decision.
All right, so you think that the mood from the grassroots shows that the party is beginning to heal. Now, moving on, for those of you out there, you can also join us. But I just want to find out from you. I mean, definitely when you go for an internal thing, that issues that comes up, that some will raise different angles of, be it intimidation, be it mandicracy, whatever you can call it. But I want to find out this from you. I mean, what does the emergence of the new regional chairperson mean for the party?
As I stated earlier, the emergence of such new phases is a signal of hope, is a signal of new strategy. And then he made a very interesting statement that the irregularities when it came to this NPP internal election was minimal. And that is one thing that it is worthy to note. Because in times past, it's not just an NPP NDC thing. In times past, we've seen situations whereby people were there were lots of electoral irregularities as compared to issues relating to the album, as compared to vote buying, as we saw that in the NDC, the Ayawaso, is it West or North constituency, whereby we saw people being given Kosiani Moko and then rice and oil and then pumped envelopes. So it is appealing as a member of the New Patriotic Party that we were able to go into a regional contest, and then after going into the regional contest, such electoral irregularities were minimal. And that is a sign of hope that the New Patriotic Party is ready for change. The New Patriotic Party, the delegates of the New Patriotic Party are ready for change. They would not sit down and then be subjected or be manipulated by money or any other tangible assets. They are ready for change because they know that the Ghana is for all of us. That once the Ghana improves, the situation of this country improves. It doesn't just improve for NDC. It doesn't just improve for them as delegates. It improves for all of us. So the grassroots of the New Patriotic Party were able to go to the polls, and then they were able to make the decision for to select the leaders that they feel that will be able to help His Excellency to be able to achieve power in 2028.
To be able to achieve power in 2028, 0537158638, numbers are also over to me and the attribute in Como and Anope Mene Nathan Nuno. Because I'm an NPP, you share after the regional election, what next for the NPP ahead of 2028?
After the regional elections, currently as it stands, you might have heard that we are gearing up for our National Delegate Conference that will be on the 3rd of October. And then you realize that, I don't know, have you ever heard of the fine gentleman Nana Kumia?
Why you asking me about
Yes, because it will surprise you that this morning a communique has been released and then Nana Kumia joins the race for the vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Yeah. And that is a sign of hope, because when you see such astute gentlemen, such prestigious men of valor and of honor who have decided to step forward to lead the New Patriotic Party, it is a symbol of hope that the party is ready to attain power in 2028. And that is the conversation, that the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party is ready to attain power in 2028, because all the competent men have decided to put themselves out there to come and then contribute their quota
to see who becomes the national chairman.
Not that.
Who becomes the vice chairman?
That is not the main purpose of the election. That is not the main purpose of the election. The main purpose of the election is for gallant men to put themselves out there, for the delegates to choose who they want to hold certain positions. Because it is important to understand that when the person is voted for.
Just hold your breath. Let me go on the line. I have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Joe from the Northern Region.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Honorable.
Okay, I think I want to support my party member, His Excellency, hardworking chairman.
If you could position yourself well, Honorable, your line keep breaking. We're getting some feedback back and forth with it. So if you could position yourself well, and then we can talk. That'll be fine with me.
But, is it clear?
Yes, it's better now, Honorable. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think I want to commend the MPP for having a peaceful regional contest nationwide. Actually, they did so well, as compared to previous elections, where blues were exchanged. This time, we didn't see it. I think that one, they deserve a high level of engagement. Having said that, you see, I heard MPP communicators said they have changed about 14 regional chairmen. And the rest I knew was only two chairmen, Chairman Sambalo and the other chairman, able to retain their seat. That is good. But the problem I have is that flag bearer has a problem. My advice then, MP is like when you have a sword and you fail to clean the sword, and you keep on applying medicine on the sword, thinking that it will heal, the sword will never heal. And that is the problem of MPP at the moment. Let him ask, what is Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Bawumia, after the loss, the humiliating defeat he experienced, he began with a thinking tour. That was good. But let him ask you, was he able to end the thinking tour successfully? It never ended successfully.
Hello, Honorable Joe. I think we've lost Honorable Joe on the line. We're still looking at after the regional elections, what next for the NPP ahead of 2028 election. Don't forget, in October, they are going to do for the national positions as to who takes the national position. We know once a CEO of STC is also gunning to become the first vice chair. But you can also join us on 053-715-8638 is the numbers. We're looking at holistically after the election. Now, we've seen election that has been heard. We've seen a lot of things that has gone on within your party during the eras of having to go for even the presidential slots as to who leads the party going into election 2028. Even before going into 2028, before going to 2024, we have similar issues with some disgruntled supporters. We're not excited about it. Now, will the defeated candidate and their supporters genuinely unite behind
Good morning.
the winners? Hello, good morning. Mr. Morrison.
Mr. Morrison.
Mr. Morrison, my NTO.
Minyum bina medita lanchians. Ghana for ye. Osemo pedon mama dunso na mubinya. Mama dunso na mubinya. Endura menemo kasa na pepe no mampanyi mama daylight no. Ano pay no dia abreye. Se dunso ni die. It's one sa. Na yadi asidama papa onabo ya ofedi. En mo pa wa ya no busu. Amati ni aye ni kenipa. Na mi unshira na mi koma asem so. Se o mama me de bia me ta wa ha me papa because na mi pita kukufu 3 e no share me bo. Se obi am pekofu ko pe mienu kan ho. Mo hua kam sika nkra kam ento na mbiwe because wa ha me papa. We cook sika ya kem. Obedina radio to a no mo kasa so mo tuakura foka. Santon na da no etwamo. De bia me ka se ende Nana Akufo Adawroma efie bia secondary school. E di se oba no secondary school. Na wo ho nya din kura kofo long distance. Obetima tena fie aye at university. It is a school here no ayefo. Ba man payi mama ba odi to. E be kan se university kura no be hwe obi aba. Enso oba ye entima me. O man payi mama sa ka kire biem se. Nurses ni oba obefo bia enti wode 24-hour economy ebeba. Ankwara no adwuma bia ebefa nipa miensa. Enti school for any J send the ema man payi mama marai. Oba ye de be na konfa no ma ba kura. Na de eme yan say the behind this is not ya create look and share. So man payi mama be ya okofa box e di ni ba Ghana he emfa so oba plan na Ghana ko nyai. What the legacy ba wakwa fa nkukọ ketenkete ama NDC ni betina mo ma radio ni say wo madwe. Na last da bia me ka nkukọ ho asem na Korizada ne pesu aso mo kotwa UTV. Ten nkukọ no o mo de wo ho. Na me say be that prika ko ma kwa hwe. Na o mo de na wo ho ampa. Oh, enye mama mpa mama kan eni ayentro. Na o de policy ba na nkukọ nchama Ghana fo nyina ye hu say wo ba ye no. Wo yisra ha ma Ghana fo. Wo de ama NDC fo. Na bosum twi ha.
It's okay as 60 seconds and sono. My man 3 minutes still and sono. I bet you ko. Why are you? Yeah, so I was asking this question that has to do with when people go for contests, they have their own followers. We saw what happened with you within your party in 2024. We saw what happened just electing Bawumia to lead the party for election 2028. We've seen the skirmishes that has gone on even before you went for the regional. Now, I was asking you a question that would the defeated candidates and their supporters genuinely, I should have to repeat that word again, genuinely unite behind the winners?
You see, before I address that question, you see, earlier on I was actually making a submission on a previous matter before we came to this one. So I would want to finish my thought on that, and then I come here. You see, and as I stated earlier, in an election, there are 3 things. That is, you win, you lose, or you learn. When you win, you are able to understand that you did certain things that your opponent didn't do, and moving forward, you keep improving on yourself. When you, when you learn, is when you understand that indeed I have lost the election and I have decided to make analysis on myself and then my opponent, and then understand that I did this and then I got it wrong. My opponent did this and then he got it right. So I have learned from my mistake, and moving forward, I would be able to attach what I've learned, the new knowledge I've been able to learn from my opponent, to my strategies, and then move on. But when you lose is when you decide not to learn from your opponent, that indeed my opponent did something that I didn't do, and that is what has contributed to his victory. And then you think of yourself as the reservoir of all knowledge, and then you fail to admit that indeed I have lost an election, and then you've given up on learning. That is when you have actually lost an election. So have in mind these three things: you win, you lose, you learn. That is it moving forward. Now, we have, as I stated earlier, the reconciliatory team that we have is not a team that was established yesterday. As you stated, the team has been there during the time of our top-bottom approach, where we decided to elect our flag bearer first before we come down to the various branches, the constituencies, now regional, and then now we are looking forward, hopefully, to a successful delegate conference on the 3rd of October. So back to your question, that is, will the people that feel that they've been wronged rally behind our flag bearer? Is it a flag bearer? Or
I was asking that the defeated candidate and their supporters, would they genuinely support the winners of the constituencies they found themselves?
The
regional chair.
The regional.
Yeah.
Okay, so this regional. So yes, that is what I've stated, that the reconciliation team has embarked on their journey. And then what makes this entire thing more appealing is that the various participants of the elections have decided, or have taken up the mantle on themselves, not to be waiting on the reconciliation team to be moving around, engaging their various opponents in the race, but then they've decided to be reaching out to themselves to their various opponents. And that to me is a step in the right direction, because they've understood why we had to go for the election, because we went for the election not to create enemies, but to be able to put ourselves out there for the delegates to make the decision on who they feel is best, whose ideologies fit the set purpose that we have for election 2028. So to your question, all I'm saying is that the aspirants themselves, within themselves, have been able to agree. It would have been another issue if they didn't agree with themselves that they were going to engage, or they feel that they've been hurt in one way or the other, so they won't engage with the people that have emerged winners. But then this time, all the various parties and the various functions have decided to agree and then reconcile within themselves without waiting for anybody to come and do that for them. And that is a step in the right direction. And that is something that I believe our fellow compatriots in the National Democratic Congress also need to learn. Because if just a parliamentary primaries, we can see Kosciuszko Mokuo and then rice and oil and then pump envelope, then ahead of their elections, because they'll be starting their their constituency elections soon, and then move up to the regional. So if just this one constituency we have all of this votes buying, then you can imagine what will happen at the regionals. And then have in mind, of course, they will declare themselves as party in power, so they will want to show us how to properly use government funds that they've looted themselves.
Well, but I don't think you have any evidence to show that they've looted any money for now. So let's hang that one. But that brings me to my next question. That if you look at the dynamics, 14 couldn't retain their seats. No, I'm 14. Let me finish. 14 couldn't retain their seats. You have only two persons retaining: Bono, Abronya, and also the Northern Regional Capital. Does this result reveal different political dynamics across the regions?
All right. So I would want to state first of all that there is something I don't want to put it that your question is wrong or fundamentally flawed in a way. But then what I want to say is that, you see, when you put it in a way that as we've established, 14 people
Yeah,
are new.
14 are new.
Are new.
We have 14 new faces coming in. We have 2 old retaining. Others will believe that okay, those 14 belong. May have, this perception. Will be supporting the current candidature. So if you look at the newspapers, they will say, oh, okay, his people has lost the seats. So I was asking, does it bring some dynamics to the regions going forward as a party?
No, what I wanted you to get correct was this. For instance, when we take the Greater Accra Regional Chairmanship, I'm
not saying there are people who step.
Exactly.
I'm not using. I'm using a yardstick to find out. And we have 14 new people. Does it bring some dynamics too? Because it's not all of them that step down. There are some that step. At least 60% went for re-election and lost. So let's say if you take away those 40 or 30% who stepped down, going into the 60% that contested but still lost their position, I was looking at, as a party, what are the dynamics for the regional basis, looking from the grassroots sections?
That is what I've stated clearly, that it shows that the grassroots are ready for power. The grassroots want change.
They want people that can lead a party.
They want not just people that can lead a party, they want people that they can trust.
They can trust, that can win the power for them. Is that what you're looking at?
That is the message. They want people that they can trust, people that they know that when they are in need, they can reach out to them, people that knows that they have their best interest at heart. That is what the Ghanaian grassroots is looking out for. Because time has been the case whereby you would see that grassroots will vote for individuals, and then once they are voted in, they barely reach out to the grassroots. The grassroots feel that they've been sidelined. And that is what, moving forward, the Ghanaian voter has been able to understand that they are very powerful when it comes to making decisions for this country. And once they have that power, it is up to them to make the best of decisions, not to follow vote buying, but then to opt to decide that we want this person who we know we can trust. This person, over the season of time, has shown that we can trust them, has the ideologies of us included in his heart. That is what the grassroots want. The grassroots have made it clear, and that is the dynamics we are seeing. It is not about what you would want to give them at that instance of voting, but it is a sign of the people that they know they can trust, people that they know that when they call on them at any given point in time, they will be able to reach them. That is the dynamics that we should be looking at. How transformational the Ghanaian voter has become, or the Ghanaian delegate has become, that they would not be submerged into vote buying, but then they would sit down, make critical analysis, and then appreciate the fact that you've been with them, you stood with them, you shared their tears with them. That is what the Ghanaian electorate wants now. That is what they've even understood. That the person who would cry with you is the person who has your best interest at heart. That is the person that when you give him or her the mandate, when they get to the top, they will be very circumspect about your interest. They will be circumspect in your interest to the extent that they would protect your interest and advance your cause, not their own personal cause. For they know that it is not about self-aggrandizement, but then it is about the people down there, the people who have given you the mandate for their betterment and not for your own selfless riches. That is the dynamics that we should be looking at. And that is what the grassroots have done. They have genuinely, out of their heart, done that without any manipulation whatsoever.
Now, looking at the dynamics that we're experiencing now, what should be the priority of the new executives elected at the regional level?
The priority of the new executive is for them to sit down and then do a lot of consultation to be able to properly understand what caused our defeat in 2024 elections. If it is regard to the aspect of communication, what did the NDC do that we didn't do? Where did we get it wrong? Where did we leave out our people? Where we could have brought them in? That is what they should be. That is what I feel that the new crop of executives should be looking at. They should be looking at where we got things wrong. where we could have done better, where we should improve. The consultation should be more than just the regular hello, hi, how are you doing? It should be more than that. It should be in-depth conversations with the grassroots. Because believe it or not, you as an executive cannot be the reservoir of knowledge. You would have to consult. Without consulting, we won't be able to make any prolific progress as a political party. So I believe that the various regional executives that have been elected should look at it at the case that they will consult enough. Not enough, they should always consult in whatever they do, because the mandate was given to them by a crop of people, and then they are not there for their own selfish interest, but then they are there for the betterment of those people. So in advancing their cause, the new crop of executives should look at what they didn't do and then what they could do better, and then they should also be consulting.
You should also be consulting. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us. We are looking at after the regional election, what next for the MPP going into election 2028. Hanging out with me this morning is Nathan Nuno, who speaks for the NPP, and is here with me. Looking at your structure as a party, is a new regional leadership structure, strong enough to rebuild the party?
So I'm using Greater Accra a lot today because we are in Greater Accra, and then that is one of the regional elections that I actually followed carefully. So you look at the current crop of executives that have been elected in the case of Greater Accra, and then you realize that these are prolific men and women that can advance the cause. You look at the experience that the likes of Dr. Okoboy are bringing on board, because they've been in the constituency space, they've been in the regional space, and then they've been on the national platform and the global platform as well. Because have in mind that Okoboy has served as a deputy minister, and then a CEO of the National Health Insurance Scheme. So that is a man that is bringing a vast and holy experience to the position of chairman. And that is what we should, that is what tells you that the party, when it comes to Greater Accra, is on the right track. You look at the position of regional youth organizer, and then you have someone who has contested on the ticket of the NPP for the position of member of parliament. That is the Shai Osu Doku former parliamentary candidate, Honorable Nage. And then you realize that these are men and women. This caliber of men and women are people that are bringing on board vast experience. The kind of experience and then aggression and precision and strategy that we need currently in our current state as opposition. And then it's not just in the Greater Accra. You can see that same application in the likes of the Ashanti region, where you have Chairman Koka taking over as the regional chairman, the youth organizer being Senior Martin Amiyao, and then you have the general secretary, that is Dr. Francois. These are people that over this period of time have proven to have the holistic and prolific strategic experience that we need to be able to capture power, to be able to bring new strategies on board, to be able to gather people, attain power for the New Patriotic Party, to be able to attain power in 2028.
To be able to attain power come 2028, I know this is one of the things that everybody will want to really find out from the NPP as to how the party, what would the party do to reconnect with voters.
I believe that these are conversations that have been held indoors. I think this past Monday, listening to one fine communicator, that is Dennis Miracles Abuaje, who happens to be contesting for the position of national